Welcome to the Locksmith Show. I'm Andrew. I have Ryan sitting across from me today. We have Charlie, who is out sick. Our call-in numbers are 602-277-5369, or you can call toll-free at 1-866-536-1100. How you doing today, Ryan?
Oh, I'm living the dream. How are you, Andrew?
I'm not doing too bad. Again, like I said, Charlie's out sick today. Maybe he'll call in later on in the show. We do have a very special guest on the phone to start off the show with us. He's an expert in the industry and is a very, very big consumer advocate. We have Tom Lynch, the director of SOPL, Society of Professional Locksmiths, on the phone with us.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Tom.
Hey, so I hear you were shorthanded with Charlie, so yeah, let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
Great.
So, excuse me.
So word on the street is you're going to be sending Andrew over to Texas to go to a couple of expos. Is that right?
Yeah, Andrew's a great rep. He's a member of the society, and he's a great representative. I see a lot of promise in the future with what his ideas are. So yeah, I'd love to have him go there and represent us. I would like to go. If I can't, then he'll do just fine. So what's on the agenda for today? I know you got a lot of listeners that are tuning in, so let's see if we can get them to call in with some questions.
Absolutely. Again, guys, the call number is 602-277-5369. We do have a little bit of a consumer issue that me and Ryan ran into on Friday. I had a gentleman by the name of Mark call in to my lock company, and he was locked out of his car here out in Phoenix, called me. I gave him a price quote of $65. And then at some point we didn't get the call back because it got lost in translation, I think, because I was on the phone with somebody else. About 30 minutes later, the gentleman called back again and said that he couldn't get a hold of me again, and he had called another locksmith, and the gentleman was there and wanted to charge him $195. And I said, you need to tell that guy to go away. And I will get Ryan on his way over there. Ryan is about 25 minutes away from there. So
yeah,
the other so-called locksmith, tried to tell the gentleman that he needed to get $130 for the opening. And then he tried to proceed to tell the guy that he needed to charge him $65, but Ryan was already on his way over there. And then the guy tried to get him to take a cancellation fee of $55, and he finally just left before Ryan showed up. And Ryan opened Mark's car and got in the car for him for $65, and he was on his way.
Yep.
But the keys were still not in the car.
Yeah, as soon as I got there, so he popped the car open, and he, couldn't find the keys. Had me help him a little bit and dig into the car and trunk and anywhere they could possibly be, and he just couldn't find them. And we're about to start making a key for the car, and he's like, you know what, let me wait. My wife has a spare. I offered to drive him home because he couldn't get a hold of his wife. She was at work. And I told him, hey, if you don't want to sit in a parking lot, I can drive you home. And he's like, I live all the way out in Maricopa. I was like, he's like, you don't have to. I'm like, okay, good, thanks. Cause I didn't want to do that. I didn't know you lived that far. And, about 20 minutes after that, we had a review pop up on Yelp. And, he had gone to the trash can where he threw his Starbucks cup away, and he found his keys right next to the Starbucks cup in the trash can.
So needless to say, he spent the $65 that he didn't need to spend, but he saved himself the $195 that he could have spent with the other gentleman.
Exactly.
So, again, Mark, we're glad that you found your keys if you're out listening today. And if you ever need us, save us in your phone. And thank you again for writing us an awesome review, and we're glad to be of service for you.
Exactly.
So, Tom, on SOPL, you have some consumer things that you've been doing recently to try to help bring us more into the 21st century, I want to say. Is the best way to put it?
Yeah, that's kind of fair to say, but I think it's more about trying to give the consumer, as well as some of the manufacturers that want to provide work or leads to the professionals, a form of verification or merchant verification. It's really, to say it simply, is the number one issue that everyone seems to be clamoring about is that you have these ghosts out there, or scammers, however you want to call them, that you can't find them, that they don't exist, or they're somehow these mysterious entities. Well, we're embarking upon a merchant verification program. This is something that we had, when I say we, it's myself and it was two other fellas 10 years ago had started to plan on this. And then Afghanistan came up, and one of the fellas, the key players in putting some of this together, he got deployed, and, thank God he's back after 10 years. And we're revisiting all of this. The idea is that simply we have someone physically go to the locations, whether you're home-based operator or whether you have a retail store, and physically see if you exist. And I think that's something that the consumers, it'll resonate with the consumers, that they do know where to go and find somebody that has been verified, whether it be through the SOPL. And I know that there's some other people that are moving in the same direction to do this, and that's awesome. It's not to invade on anybody's privacy, but in reality, people are contacting our organization, manufacturers, and saying, hey, we're getting all kinds of potential leads from consumers seeking out someone that is a good actor compared to a bad actor, and we're just afraid to give them the work because we don't want our brand to be tarnished. Can you help? And this is really the best way to do it. The locksmiths are good guys. They want to be found. They want to be seen. I kind of equate it to the kid at the local high school dance. He's out there in the middle of the floor jumping up and down because he wants to be seen. He wants to get a dance, with the pretty girl on the floor. The bad guys hang out in the darkness, and they do so for evil purposes. So yeah, we're embarking upon what we call Lock Verify, where we're going to go through this merchant compliance program as well as peer review and a few other things, and we're just going to start giving check marks. It's a form of self-regulation, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm all for the idea myself. It gives us another stamp of approval, and if it can give us more work as locksmiths, even better. And companies,
absolutely. And look, there's only a couple of reasons why somebody wouldn't want to do this. Either they're hiding something, or they're just, they see everything negative. We're looking for the positive people that want to step forward. I've got, the SOPL has a reputation for creating work for its members and for the industry, and there's more of it. There's so much of it out there. They just have to step forward. We'll put those people together, and hopefully it'll help everyone, including the consumers.
Well, and that's the main part of all of it. That's what we started this show for, was to help the consumers find good, legitimate locksmiths, for one, find somebody that isn't going to overcharge them, somebody who is going to stand behind the quality of their work more than anything.
The consumers hold the power, Andy. The power of the review, not a fake review, not this bogus stuff that we see, but the power of the review is incredible. And look, the consumers, they're pretty awesome. I mean, look, they're just looking for someone to help them and to do the right thing. We're consumers. I'm a consumer. You're a consumer. I know how to be treated, and I know how to treat other people. And I think for the most part, the good actors do that. So, yeah, that's where we're headed. So I hope the consumers out there that are listening are willing to, just like you fellas. I mean, you've stood out. You've put your necks out there to go on AM radio and broadcast yourself. And I hear you're getting work and helping people as a result of it. And that's great.
Well, that's the whole purpose of it. There's never been a time that I came into the show and wanted to not do the show ever because of sorry, I'm getting fingers up on me. We got 2 minutes before break, but kind of lost my train of thought there. But I got the sun coming in. It's kind of bright, and I was trying to read what he was doing to me. But our producer in the other room. But the consumers themselves are smart people. Mark knew that $195 for the car opening, when I actually quoted him originally on the phone, $195 to make a key for his car, he thought was a little outrageous. Me and him had a little conversation over that, and I've had a few other people call me as well and say,
when we come back from break, I want to talk about that. And I also have a lot of tips that I want to get out to your listeners, and I think they'll get a big kick out of it.
Absolutely. I was going to ask Ryan a question.
You're pointing at me, and I'm waiting.
And, sorry.
I haven't been asked a question yet. Let's be talking yet.
Exactly. What other job did you do on Friday? Wasn't there another one on Friday? That we talked to somebody and they had an issue too? Or was that last week? I don't know. This week's been kind of a blur.
It's been, yeah.
I'm getting ready to go out of town and
I was extremely sick all week.
Yes.
Like, really, really sick all week long.
Ryan was definitely ill all week.
Yeah, I had a fever from Sunday until about Thursday. I was running a fever, triple digits. And so, yeah, this whole week's been a blur. So
we'll be back and we'll talk with Tom about his awesome tips right after the break.
And we're back. The call-in numbers are 602-277-5369 or toll-free 1-866-536-1100. We also want to invite our listeners to meet us out in the parking lot at 12 noon after the show to get
This isn't a showdown at 12 noon.
This isn't a showdown at high noon. It is a invitation to come out, meet us, and get a free house key made.
Or an office key.
A
very simple key made.
Yeah, simple keys made. We won't do any programming of high security automotive or anything like that. But say you need an extra house key or mailbox key or something along those lines, come on down, come holler at us, and we'll cut you a free key in the parking lot.
Absolutely.
You still with us, Tom?
Oh, is Tom still with us, or did we lose him? There he is.
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. So right before the break, yeah, we can hear you, Tom. Sorry about that.
Okay, super.
So right before the break, you were talking about coming in. Yeah, we were talking about giving out free keys.
That's pretty awesome. I like that.
Every 12 noon on Sundays, right after the show, Charlie, myself, and Ryan shake hands with our listeners out in the parking lot. And,
that's great. That's a good idea. So getting back to your friend, I mean, when we talk about prices, the one thing I want to make sure that the consumer understands is, there's something to always consider, and it's compared to what? When someone gives you a price, you have to step back and like you say, if your friend gets a odd feeling or a creepy feeling that something's not right, there's a possibility that it's not. But then there's also the possibility that the consumer's not understanding completely what's being presented, and if that's the failure of the locksmith, then that's his fault. The consumer has a right to do a comparison, and that's the professional's responsibility to explain to them the features, the benefits, the reasoning. Now, on a car lockout, that's one thing. I would say to every consumer that's listening out there, if you ask a responder that's going to do a car lockout or even a home lockout or business lockout, ask them this question. Will you use non-destructive methods of entry? If they look at you with a blank stare on their face, tell them to get lost. If they explain to you what they're going to be doing and how they're going to do it and this process, then you probably have the right guy. Because the non-destructive methods of entry and bypass, the professionals are trained to look for vulnerabilities. They're not there to just simply drill your lock, and of course, or do anything with the car. They're going to look for vulnerabilities, and they're going to exploit that. And then they're going to give you the options. And then they're going to also give you a recommendation on how to correct that vulnerability. And it's not a hustle. It's not trying to upsell you, but that's their job. It's no different if I came in and I was looking at your heating and air conditioning and I saw something that wasn't right. I'm going to make the recommendation and give you the opportunity to make your choices. So always consider those two things.
Another comparison to make is when you take your car into the automotive shop. If you take it to a trusted mechanic, he's going to give you a breakdown of, what repairs need to be made to your vehicle, and he's going to list it out in order of importance. He's not going to do that to try to swindle more money out of you. He's going to do that because those are the concerns he has about keeping your vehicle on the road and safe. When a locksmith comes out, they should be taking a look at all points of entry on your home and making recommendations on how to secure them better. That's our job. We want to make sure your home is secure. We want to make sure your business and your vehicle are secure. We want to make sure your safe is secure.
And one of the last things that we...
Absolutely. So don't always predicate everything on price. That's something that needs to be obviously learned. Everybody wants the deal. I get it. Believe me, I do it. But don't always base everything on price. And this is where the consumers are getting trapped with all of these squirrely types of deceptive advertising. It's not always about price. You get what you pay for. We all know that. But what I wanted to share with everybody, we're in the tax season right now. And I don't know if everyone is aware of this, and this is something that came up just the other day when I worked with someone and offered a safe to them. In tax season, and not just now, but if you're storing your taxes in your home safe at any time, as long as your documents are in that safe, it is a tax deduction, and you need to talk to your accountant. It's no different than if you had a safe deposit box. You're paying a fee for that. You also, the same goes true for your home safe. So for all the consumers out there that have a safe, there's a tax deduction for you. You just got to make the call and you got to push it.
Absolutely. And as well as I tell people all the time with the safe, you want a safe that isn't low dollar safe. You don't want to get the cheapest safe out there. You don't want to go pick up the Walmart or the Home Depot special all the time. Just because.
Well, you need to label those two in this sense. Again, these are all containers. They're fireboxes. They're not what we in our industry consider to be a safe container. There's a big difference.
Big difference.
The thing to remember is that in our industry, and here is what the consumer should be looking for, if you have a pad and paper and you're really interested in getting a safe, if you're keeping your taxes in a firebox or even a fire-resistive safe, that's fine. You could do your tax write-off. But if you're actually looking for something with $5,000 or more of valuables that you're going to be putting into that safe, you need to look for a safe that has what's known as a Group 2 relocker, a Group 2 safe lock with a relocker. And that's very important because, especially for small businesses, that's what the insurance companies are going to look for. So there's a difference between the retail big box stores and the professional locksmiths. And while we're talking about the big box stores, Andy and Ryan, I do want to let the consumers know that, we're talking about pricing, we're talking about value, compared to what, when they walk into these home centers and they seek hardware, rather than going to the local locksmith, they have to be aware that the hardware that they're purchasing in these big box stores, they come in one container, they come in one carton, one case. The consumer should pick up these locks before they purchase them. And take a look. There's a label on them that will identify the key combination.
Yep.
What the consumer doesn't know is that if Andy, Ryan, and myself went in at the same time and we lived on the same street in the same neighborhood in the same town and we all purchased locks at one time or another, we may be buying a lock that has the same key combination and we have keys to one another's house because they're keyed the same. See, and that's why it's very important that the consumer consider the professional locksmith to do a rekey to change that combination to a random combination number.
And any legitimate locksmith should be either A, have a pile of pre-cuts that he keeps in his truck that he knows haven't been used anywhere else, or B, has a machine like an HPC Blitz where he can code cut a new key right there on the spot. And it'll be a number that the locksmith created that he knows hasn't been used.
Exactly. And, one of the things that consumers need to digest, again, is you're buying a product that is a consumer expendable item. It's identified as a grade 3 piece of hardware. It's not really intended to last your lifetime. The other problem is that this is such a common keyway that you have to ask yourself this question. Is it okay that someone can make a duplicate of your key without your knowledge? If your answer is yes, then that lock is really good for you because someone can take your key at any time, whether it's a valet or anyone. I could look at your key from 10 feet away, and I can replicate that key without you knowing about it.
Yep.
But if the answer is no, then you need to see a professional and ask them about a reserved keyway or a restricted keyway that only the consumer can give the authority to have that key duplicated. Otherwise, those locks that you're buying at the big box stores are so easily duplicated, you wouldn't even know if someone entered your home or business.
Yeah, and you can pick your way in and pick your way out just as quickly as using a key most of the time, if you have the knowledge of how to do it.
Exactly.
No, and one thing that we tell our customers, one of the high security locks that we use is multi-lock. And we use the interactive pin, and the one that we have is a keyway designed specifically for our company and not for any other locksmith in town. So the only place you'd be able to get the keys cut would be from myself or Ryan or another gentleman by the name of Jim from Copper State Lock. And those are the ones that we sell, and nobody's going to get a key made unless you okay it. So we have to see your driver's license. You sometimes have to even come into the shop physically and get it, unless you've been a big account of ours for a long time. But key restriction is a very big thing that I'm very much in. We use it in our studio, at my recording studio too. I know which keys are where, who has those keys. I keep a very tight, close watch on what key goes where and who has it.
And if a key is lost to a door, we pull that one lock and we rekey the. I'm still learning about the Grandmaster system, but we rekey the end user system. I don't know what the label. I don't know what it's called.
It would be end user change key.
Yeah, we would change it. We change the change key out. The Grandmaster never changes, but there's only about 3 of us that have access to the Grandmaster,
exactly.
So not a big problem. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Hopefully, Tom will stay on the line with us, and we'll be right back with you folks.
Are you looking for creative solutions and a vibrant locksmith community that delivers tailored programs and benefits that impact your bottom line? Look no further. The Society of Professional Locksmiths offers valuable content to help you survive in today's marketplace. Easy online training, testing, certification, webinars, and the best discussion forums in the industry. Learn about the latest and greatest in products, services, and special offers that save you money and increase your earning potential today. The Society of Professional Locksmiths pick the winners and follow the trends that matter to you, and we do it for less. Compare our forward-thinking programs and membership, and you will agree the Society of Professional Locksmiths offers more value for your membership dollar. What makes the Society of Professional Locksmiths different? We cost less and deliver more. Join the Society of Professional Locksmiths today at SOPL.us.
Welcome back to the Locksmith Show. Our call-in numbers are 602-277-5369. I'm Andrew from Andrew's Lock and Key. If you ever need any locksmith needs, you can go ahead and call me at 480-437-4022. And you can see myself or Ryan at your doorstep or at your car to help you get back on the road or get you in your house. Or if you purchased a new house, we can rekey it as well.
Definitely one thing I want to touch on. Realtors out there, if you're listening, please start stressing the importance of rekeying the house after your customers have purchased the home. This is something that needs to happen. It's it's like safety 101. As soon as you come into a new place, you need to have it rekeyed. So.
And again, Charley's out sick today. But Charley is always available just as much as we are. And Locksmith Charley's phone number is 602-717-5397. We also have Tom from the Society of Professional Locksmiths on the line with us still. And any of our listeners, again, give us a call, 602-277-5369. All right, Tom. Any other consumer ideas on your mind today that you've been thinking about lately?
That was a good lead up, though, on the rekey with the realtors. The domestic violence aspect of that is rather big. And I've seen that in my career. I've come across that, where we've had unauthorized entry. So it's kind of a spooky thing. I don't want to scare your listeners, but they definitely, should pay attention to that. And, the funniest thing here is, Ryan had mentioned about the master keying and all that. I don't know if the average consumer knows that let's take, for example, someone who's walking around with a huge key ring hanging off their hip. We've all seen it. How these people don't end up with back problems, I have no idea.
I've got one on my hip right now. Everybody laughs at me because I've got my house keys, my mom's house keys, the truck keys, all the lock keys to the truck. I've got all the keys to the studio. I've got a massive key ring. It's huge. It's so irritating to have.
Exactly. So, look, there's a great way to lose weight there, Ryan. All you have to do is key all your locks. If they're of the same manufactured brand, you can rekey all your locks to operate on one key. One key alone. And I do this all the time, and people are so gratified by it. They don't realize that they can do this.
A lot of people don't. And sometimes we have to change out a couple of locks to make it work that way. But generally, most of the time not. Sometimes people move into the house. I do love the little old ladies that think they're a lot safer having 10 keys to their house.
Yeah.
And I get that all the time, and I don't try to argue with them about it. I'm just like, do you really want it? Because we have to color code 13 keys here to get into your house. You have 4 keys to just get in the front door. Yeah, well,
that's right.
I just feel safer. Okay, well, if that's what you want, then that's what we'll do.
So, listen, we're running out of time, so I want to get 2 things out to everybody, and I think they're going to really love this. I'm going to do a shameless plug for a brand new product. One of the things I like to do with the SOPL is we do seek out some of these smaller indie companies, startup companies, or inventors that have come up with these really great products for the consumer, and we help the consumer meet with these folks somewhere along the line so that they can find out about this. There's a great product coming out called a double lock or a bedroom bolt. It costs $10, I believe, retail, 10 or 11 retail. And the locksmiths will have the opportunity of providing these to the consumer. I used one the other day. It's as simple as changing the strike plate on your existing home or your prep, and it allows for this small little U-shaped bar that will interlock the strike plate with the doorknob. And I have to tell you, when we talk about compared to what we talk about pricing, this is down and dirty. There's no question about it. Will it stop a raging bull? I don't know. We don't have those up here in New York, but I will tell you this. Everybody deserves something according to what they can afford. So you do the best that you can do, and you add layers. So I'm going to make this pledge to your radio program that I'm going to get some of these sent to you to give out as prizes to your listeners for whatever upcoming show that you have.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And what was this product called again?
It's called U double lock or bedroom bolt. They have several different names, but I will definitely get some out to you for sure. Absolutely. I don't even think they have a website up yet. I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
But I wanted to also introduce something that's already existing that's out there, and this is huge, absolutely huge for the consumers, for especially the individuals that are alone. I think you mentioned the little old lady, and that's not to be insulting.
Oh, no.
My job is to look out for those folks and the single moms and the people that are vulnerable. There is a product that is intended to identify someone if they attempt a forced entry into your home or business, but let's focus on the home. It will deploy an ultraviolet mist, and in that mist is a strand of DNA. So there's definitive legal proof. If I come to your door and I'm aggressive and I try to forcibly enter your home, I will not be able to deny that I was not only at your home, but I was at a particular door, because each one of these devices is registered and identified. The strand of DNA is separate in every single one of them. So basically, think of it as a door chain, but not the door chains that we all know. This is a heavy-duty, case-hardened product that has a small canister that mounts on the door frame. Well, this is coming into the United States, and it's coming fast and hard. There are already products here that the law enforcement is using. There's been some case studies in Florida where they've reduced the crime 80% in a given neighborhood that had a high rate of forced entry. And I hate to say it, and I don't want to scare anybody, burglaries are one thing. Forced entry, that's a problem, and it's increasing, and it's getting worse as the economy gets worse, or as the society starts to break down. Forced entry is something that has to be looked at. So, Yeah, I'll get a couple of those that I can send out to you guys as well, and I think the consumer needs to start looking at these things and
that'd be
asking
awesome.
questions.
We can review them a little
stuff.
bit, maybe, review the products and give a couple of them out to our listeners. It'd be awesome. Thank you very much, Tom.
You got it.
So, Tom, just a random question, and not to delve too, not to get too nosy, but I always ask this question with locksmiths, and the reason being that I have a friend of mine who just moved into a new house, and he's putting off the rekey because he wants to upgrade his locks because he wants something that he can't easily pick, and so I jokingly told him the same line that Andrew always tells me: a lock is designed to keep an honest person honest. If they want to get in, they're going to get in. So what brand of locks do you have on your home, and what do you recommend?
Well, that's a tricky answer. I happen to have something called a Miwa, which is no longer available on the market. I was at one time a Miwa dealer. I like that product. It was from Japan. It was an ultra high-end product. Because here's the thing. It has certain virtues that others do not have. It's magnetic. I also have a push-button lock on my door because I don't like to have keys in my pocket. I like to just run up and push my buttons and get into the house because I'm in and out. So saying that, I hear the keywords that you're saying is picking locks and, making it, your customer doesn't want them pickable, honest people. That's true and not true. I could secure a property where you cannot get in, and I can make it extremely difficult unless you drove a car through the front door. You're not going to see that in most cases. And remember, I'm from New York, and I'm not insulting your listeners out there, but I think it's diametrically different. And the other thing to remember is this. You may put a fancy lock on your door, but if you're not paying attention to those vulnerabilities that I spoke about, and the bypasses, I can tell you right now that if a consumer or I were to walk up to their front door or any door, and the first thing I look at is their weather stripping. If their weather stripping is the kind that compresses, if it's foam or it's the bubble style, I know that I can void the latch on that door. I don't care if you have a $150 door lock on it. I can void it with a credit card. It's those simple things that to me are more important than what kind of lock do you have on your door. It could be a grade 3 consumer expendable lock. I can still bypass and get in without any signs of entry. So, that to me kind of makes me chuckle. Everybody wants to know what you're using. I mean, there's a lot of brands that are out there. At one time on one of my properties, I had another obscure style lock called Pressomatic. It was another push-button lock that I loved it, absolutely loved it. In fact, I think they're trying to make a comeback. But, these companies don't fail because what they offer is junk. They fail for other market forces, whether or not they're able to get to market, whether they're able to get the consumer to learn about their product, or the failure of our industry in not offering those alternatives. Again, compared to what? This is where our side of the industry needs to engage the consumers, not just become cookie cutter. Like I hear you mentioning certain product names, that's great. I'm giving you names you probably never heard of.
Yeah, I have no idea who any of these companies are. And I think that's mostly because they're not in existence anymore. They're not, modern. They're not current lock manufacturers. So that's probably why I don't know who they are. Our listeners are probably completely lost as well. So.
Well, no.
And again, yeah, go ahead, Andy.
No, I was saying that not necessarily. I mean, an average person can see a lock that's a goofball lock and say, oh, that's way different. And determine it could be a high security, it could be just a really low security lock because it looks different.
Yeah.
But most people are going to notice that. And like Tom said, more than anything, that's why I say a lock's keep an honest person honest. But it's also when I'm at a house that we can't get through, if we can't pick a door, what the first thing we do? We go look for another door, or we go look for an open window, or we go look for the garage code that's sitting right there and the door's unlocked.
Well, hey, let me interject on that. I'm only doing it because I know you're pressed on time, and you know how us New Yorkers are. We're pushy. Hey, You know what? I had a guy one time, same thing. Locks only keep the honest people out. All it takes is 2 seconds to turn to him and look at his wife and say, is that how much you value your wife and family and your possessions? I mean, let's be realistic here. If that's what you think and you're not going to make any type of countermeasures to thwart the problem, then you're the problem. I don't know about you guys, but, everything I have within my space, I cherish. And I don't think about how it feels if suddenly there was a breach. I can tell you this, someone's wife is going to feel very creeped out. Someone's children are going to be very nervous. The whole idea that someone invaded your space, if you look at it as if it only keeps the honest people out, it's not true. If you frustrate people enough or the bad actor enough,
hold on
they
one
will
sec,
move on.
Tom. We're going into a break. We'll be right back.
Okay, buddy.
No matter how well you plan, no matter how careful you try to be, emergencies happen. Like when the car doors slam shut at the precise moment you realize your keys are still in the ignition. The baby's firmly secured in the car seat in the back. And now you really need a locksmith. How will you know you're calling a professional you can trust? Did you know that over half the locksmiths advertised in your local phone books are not qualified professionals? A qualified locksmith will arrive at the site in a clearly marked service vehicle. He will ask for your ID and proof that you're the legal owner of the home or vehicle. Always insist on a written price quote before work is begun. Don't place your home, your car, or your family in the hands of unscrupulous strangers. Go to findalocksmith.com, choose a qualified member of the Associated Locksmiths of America, and save the information. There'll be times when you'll be glad you did. Associated Locksmiths of America, locksmiths you can trust.
I want to welcome you back to the Locksmith Show on KFNX AM 1100. We have about 15 minutes, or actually 9 minutes or so left of the show. Our call-in number is 602-277-KFNX.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some people call in with some questions on problems they're having.
Yeah, if you're listening to the show and you think you have a question and you might be a little nervous, just calling in. You're not going to get judged from any of us. We want to be able to help you out in any way we can. So. And
we talk commercial locks, we talk automotive locks, we talk anything that has to do with security whatsoever, home automation.
Home automation is definitely a new field that we're starting to delve into a little bit over at Andrew's Lock and Key. And so if you got any questions, we'd love to hear them. If it's something that we don't know, we would love to do the research and figure it out and get an answer for you next week. So.
That's right. You tell them, because they're not going to win any prizes if they don't call in.
Exactly. Prizes are coming. You heard it from Tom Lynch himself.
That's right. Stump the locksmith.
Stump the locksmith. I want to. You know what? That's my challenge. I want to hear Andrew get stumped. I want to see it happen. So.
Well, that'll be a new thing. We'll start doing that, and you guys can email us at live@thelocksmithshow.com. Any of those questions, we'll get those up on the website. And any ones that can stump us, we'll definitely give you a free prize. And also next week,
you know what kind of calls you're going to get.
Oh, absolutely. And next week, I will be giving away a free transponder key to anybody that calls in the first 20 minutes of the show. So any of our listeners now, I will give out a free transponder key, not a remote head key, but a free transponder key programmed to your car.
Wow, that's a $65 minimum national average.
Absolutely.
That's a nice deal.
So you heard it here, you heard it here first, folks. Next week, Andrews, I haven't seen him give away keys at all. These keys are expensive and quite laborsome to make and get programmed. So this is the deal. This is the deal.
Any of our listeners, the first caller in the first 20 minutes of the show next week, again, give us a call, 602-277-KFNX, 5369.
So listen, you talked about something, all inclusive. The locksmith doesn't do locks and lockouts and door locks. They do CCTV, they do cameras. They do access control and door closers and automatic doors that you see on the storefronts and all that. That's the one thing that that we don't want to mislead the consumer to think. The one thing I find funny is how, people think that all you do is cut keys. And that's not what happens.
No, or that, is there a lot of money in car openings? Well, yes, there is, but that's not, I maybe do 2, maybe 3, 5 on a busy week. Of those, a lot of our stuffs are house keys, lost keys to cars. We probably do 20 of those a week some weeks. We do a lot more lost keys than we do with car openings.
I do more commercial. I do intercom systems. I do cameras. It's you say anything security related. Hey, and while you're talking about that, I came across this really, really good article that if any of your listeners out there are veterans or they actually care about the armed forces and what's going on overseas, there's a article. I'll have to somehow see how we can share it with everyone. It's called Imminent Threat to Coalition Forces in Afghanistan. It's an article that was written on LinkedIn by Grant Haber. So if you're good at Googling, Google Grant Haber, imminent threat to coalition forces in Afghanistan. You got to read this thing. Apparently, there's an issue with the IEDs and explosives, and they have a solution to reduce the amount of injuries and explosions and all this stuff that's affecting our troops. And it costs $3 for each test to perform, which is like crazy, ridiculously cheap, and yet someone's blocking it in our government. So it's becoming a hot topic. It's reaching some high-ranking people, and I think it's creating some good outrage among consumers and veterans. And I'm a veteran, and it's got me a little bit, can I say pissed off on the air?
Oh. Well, I think you just did, so.
Okay, I got away with it then. But yeah, it's something you guys should look into, and this is the kind of thing I think the consumers also want to hear is what's going on out there. It's not just about a locksmith and rekeying, but apparently there's this huge amount of traumatic brain injury that's being the result of some political hack that's preventing a $3 test to be performed on precursors for explosives, homemade explosives and IEDs. So if we got any vets out there, call in. I'll see what I can do about getting this fella on the air so you can hear right from the author of this article.
And that's really sad, more than anything. Our vets need to be definitely taken care of better than they are. Out here we had a big VA problem going on for a while, and still do. And it's sad. I respect every gentleman, woman, anybody who's ever fought for our country. Much respect to you guys and your family members.
Well, the other thing, too, to remember is a lot of the guys that come into our industry that end up working within our field, and it's not just locksmiths, whether or not they're in the electronic security field, they're transitioning from the military. Yes. We have a large amount of ex-military in our ranks.
Yes, we do.
So, it is something to think about. And it's another topic for your show that I think the consumers want to hear about.
Yeah, I do absolutely think that our consumers would love to hear about that. Any veterans. I'm not a veteran myself, and I don't think Ryan is either.
No, my little brother served in Iraq. I thank him every day we talk about it. And
that's a whole other topic of why I didn't go. I actually tried to, but they didn't want me to go prior to 9/11. And right after 9/11 happened, they wanted me, and I just felt that, since we were going to war, they wanted me, but I spent 2 years trying to get in. And I would have loved to have fought for the country, but I felt the country wasn't doing me a justice by helping me when I was trying to help them, and flew me all over the United States about it. I can go rounds and rounds and rounds. But I'll tell you, on 9/12, I started getting phone calls from 2 of the recruiters. Yeah. And my son was already born and everything else, and me and my significant other at the time, we never got married, but my child, my baby's mama, let's put it that way. My ex, me and her talked about it, and it was something that she didn't want me to do. She felt that it could be bad and I might not come back, and then my son wouldn't. At the time, I only had my son, and he wouldn't have a dad at the time. And to me, that rained really hard on me. So I never went, but I do respect every other gentleman and woman that has, like I said.
Well, and it comes down to what we've talked about today. It's compared to what? It's compared to what, and understanding the cost, the benefits, the value proposition. So whether or not we're talking about something simple, as a lock for the average consumer, or a precursor kit or whatever that they're arguing about here, always remember that there are options, but we need to be aware of it. And unless there's consumer awareness, then people will be taken advantage of, just like these soldiers are.
Exactly. And that will conclude the Locksmith Show today.
I want to thank Tom Lynch for calling in and sticking it out with us for the whole time. Really appreciate your input. Years of locksmith experience is definitely well appreciated on the show. So you definitely filled that Charley void pretty well for the week. But we miss Charley and look forward to having him back next week. And with that, hopefully we have somebody coming out and meeting us in the parking lot.
And do not forget, next week I am giving away a free transponder key in the first 20 minutes of the show, so don't forget to call. Thank you, and all have a great day.
Have a great day. Thanks, Tom.